So hi and welcome everyone. I'm Kris and Vinces and I'm the founder of EDUKWEST, and today I'm very happy to be joined by two young entrepreneurs in the education space, Kris Chinosorn and Leung. And they are the two founders of a new startup called MentorMob. Welcome to the program, you both.
Thank you.
Before we concentrate on how you had the idea and when you started MentorMob, maybe you would like to share some background on yourselves with our audience today.
You want to go over that?
Sure. Kris and I are pretty old friends. We met at the University of Illinois in college and became pretty good friends then. And then following college, we went our separate ways but ended up in California together. And then we started, in the environment of being around all of these amazing startups, we kind of caught the entrepreneurial bug and we're tinkering around with different ideas for what we wanted to do. And we wanted to do something pretty big. We knew that, but we weren't sure what it was. So eventually, Kris and I wanted to start something of a mixture between social networks and interest-based groups, and then eventually became more focused into the learning space. Mm-hmm. So that's how MentorMob came about and how we actually became co-founders of the company.
And, well, over here in Europe, but I think for other parts of the States is the same. We, of course, keep hearing about this fabulous ecosystem for startups in San Francisco and, of course, the Valley. So when somebody comes and sort of has an idea in mind, but at the beginning it's usually not that shaped. So how did you make up your minds to really going in the direction you are going now with MentorMob? Was it mostly really due to conversations with other startups and just other people, or did you have a look in ideas? And why then, of course, why did you see the potential in when you have everything from consumer internet in that respect, it is maybe even easier to get funding for some other ideas. Not necessarily learning or education is always the easiest space to be in. But take us a little bit through this process of how you made up your mind and you defined the idea, and then of course made it into becoming really a service or a product.
Sure. I think we first started with, it was a completely different product, and it was more based around social networks and creating a framework for all kinds of social frameworks. But it was a pretty quick pivot once we created one feature in that company. But we realized pretty early on that instead of just creating social networks to be connected, people connecting each other, we wanted to create more value of why don't we connect the more experienced people to the less experienced people. And that's kind of how MentorMob started. But right away, it was a pretty quick light bulb moment when we realized that this is really what we need to do and switch our whole entire model and really concentrate on this specific idea of making education free for everyone. And it really started off that way, but we've done many pivots since then to the product that we're actually on. So a lot of it is based on the user experience, what kind of value you're actually creating for the users, and what are the simple problems that you're trying to solve that are scalable and eventually profitable for the company and society.
And a lot of what Kris said is, right on the money with making sure that once we had our idea, it was actually kind of come out of what Kris and I actually were frustrated with whatever products are out there, whatever processes are out there. And a lot of companies are formed because they're solving a problem that they realize that they have and a lot of other people have as well. So that's kind of how we came about the idea and trying to solve a problem that we personally have and we know that everyone else has as well. But then going from that that idea then to seeing whether it's just an idea or if it's a sustainable business is it scalable? Is it profitable? What are the marketing tactics? How are we going to get users, et cetera, and what's the draw for people to actually come to MentorMob? So going through that process of idea and conception all the way to actually having a product that's kind of like how most startups and eventually become businesses, successful businesses, go through it.
Mm-hmm. And in roughly what time frame are we talking? I mean, I think I read something about you end of 2009, or was it more the social network idea still? So in how many months did you shape the MentorMob model as we have it today? And we are going, of course, to focus on the model in the next question.
It really started to pick up speed when we made the final decision to actually switch over, and it was around TechCrunch Disrupt last year, so about a year now, that it's been really going full steam ahead. So it's been an exciting year so far.
Yeah, I see all sorts of approaches currently in the learning market. You have the ones that seem to be attracted by the sort of incubator and accelerator programs. I often see, not necessarily in a negative way, but let's say the smaller ideas happen to take place in those 3-4 month programs, and then basically early going in the market, but not being particularly expensive, and then sort of, yes, the bigger ideas that simply need more time to really be thought through, and then also, being carefully developed, that they take a year or more to come into being. So with MentorMob, I think, and I mean, you both produced a very nice and professional video that people can see around where you explain the idea. And I would say I wouldn't necessarily probably call somebody a genius, but let's say after those famous 10,000 hours, you definitely become an expert in doing something. So,
definitely.
Yeah, and you talked a little bit about yourselves and the problem of learning something and also structuring and knowing what to learn in an efficient way. So this is sort of the idea, but maybe in your own words, what is MentorMob all about, and why do you think this is sort of a way many people will appreciate and having structure with their learning processes?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if some of your audience haven't seen the video, you can check it out on our YouTube channel, and it really explains the problem that we're trying to solve and kind of the concept of how we actually do it. But for everyone who hasn't seen the video, the problem that we're trying to solve is how people actually learn on the internet nowadays. And me and Vince, we always turn to the internet because we're geeks a little bit. And like me, myself, I have a lot of hobbies and interests, but learning anything from, the scholarly learning of calculus, entrepreneurship, but even the fun stuff also, which we like to do a lot. So playing the guitar, salsa dancing, anything like that. People just usually Google it first. And the problem that we've found is that you'll find this great website to learn from, but then you'll eventually follow a link to figure out the next steps of actually learning that particular interest that you're trying to learn. But what you're going to be hitting is bad links, bad content, bad how-to videos, and this process of learning is very frustrating. But there's all this amazing content that's already out there. So what we kind of tried to do, or ask the question of is, what if we're actually able to cut out all that bad content and cut out all of those dead ends that you're actually trying to learn? That process of learning is so frustrating that people usually just give up before being able to find all this great content. So if there's a very small, smart community who loves teaching other people and finding all this content for you, what they can actually create is this very basic learning playlist, which is a step-by-step easy way to learn that's linking any website out there to any other external website out there in a very easy step-by-step order without all that bad content. And if you slap on a rating system to it so that the best ways to actually learn rise to the top, and you actually allow anyone in the world to create one of these, then you can actually start crowdsourcing learning with these learning playlists. And that's all MentorMob is, like finding those passionate people who want to help other people and giving them this platform to actually organize learning for all these users. And all of these users coming in, it's very streamlined learning, and it's all completely open and free to the public after we launch. And it's just going to be really easy and simple and fun to use.
So some of the metrics that we've seen from our private beta is that people learning with our learning playlist actually save 66% of their time versus if they were learning it on their own using Google and YouTube and traditional means. So what we're doing is actually saving people a lot of time and frustration.
Yes, and I think this shortcut everybody is with. I think just the tremendous amount of information, curation, or what you said, crowdsourcing, is something that will become increasingly important, I think, over the next couple of years. So I definitely see that the spot or the space you are in related to learning is and this whole movement, of course, of social learning. This is definitely something very interesting also to myself, what you identified and where you are currently in. In your explanation, so I have a deluge of questions. Okay, let's see how to structure this. So first is when you say crowdsourcing or curating content, you're talking about any sort of content. So it needs to be a website, or is it video? Do you make the perfect blend for people how to learn, or do you focus on only sort of one way to teach information or to teach some things? And then probably the other big question is, when you said, so we need to find those passionate people and necessarily also experts in their field, because otherwise I imagine it difficult that they say, okay, this piece of content is definitely an element of the learning stream, and this probably not. So how do you make people your experts? And the other thing is what content we are looking at.
To answer the latter, it can really be any kind of online content. Mm-hmm. So as long as it can be any website also. So if you're using about.com or any other learning website, Wikipedia or any YouTube video, as long as it's accessible online, we can link different kinds of content together. So it could be a video or an article or a flash educational game or anything like that. And how we actually, we don't really separate the experts from beginning teachers or anything like that. We really believe that one of the best ways to learn is actually to teach other people. So we've actually found that a lot of the experts aren't always the best people to teach something. Like, it's kind of that sweet spot where you've just found this passion that you're starting to learn and you're intermediate in that space, and you're looking and finding all this great content that you just want to put into order for someone else because you're hitting all this other bad content. But it's actually anyone can create these playlists, and it's really, really easy to create. And once you come to it, you can just create any kind of playlist you want. It's any kind of length. It could be 10 steps, 40 steps, 3 steps, but everything is just based on how you're actually learning. There's multiple ways to learn something, even specific small skills within an interest. So really, it's the framework that we've created that allows our whole entire society to help us build MentorMob. It's not just us building MentorMob, but it's anyone out there that wants to help other people that's helping us build it also.
Right, and the thing is, this already happens. It's just very fragmented and disorganized, where I help my friends all the time learn how to play guitar or learn how to ski or snowboard, and my friends have taught me how to salsa dance or, juggle, things like this. And this happens all around the world, but why can't it be centralized into a platform that anyone can go ahead and share their knowledge?
And it's only it's only 1% of the people that are going to be actually doing it. It's people are going to trust this framework because just like Wikipedia, it's crowdsourced, but not that many people are creating this content. But the people that have so much power in creating this engine that's actually helping most of the 99% of the learners coming to use the website to help them learn what they want to learn.
Yeah, so I would definitely agree that not only a teacher or an educator in the most traditional sense can, of course, teach other people something. So some of the most interesting people I have had the chance to interview are not necessarily or don't necessarily come from an educator's classic background, and even though they are great teachers. So you would say you're not particularly worried, let's say, that somebody who makes the effort of creating the playlist, that they then would actually put dubious or not so good content in it. So you would say if it's only 1% of the total number of learners who are not only learners but also creators and therefore educators, they themselves have the need in them that they really want to teach something. So you, as the creators of the platform of MentorMob, don't have to be afraid and sort of verify each piece of content.
Mm-hmm. Like for us, it's really about creating this community framework, and for us, it's about the community management behind it, and also creating a system that is self-policing. That yes, anyone can come in and put graffiti on Wikipedia, but because there's a very strong community and it's us doing the work also, but also our community helping us tell us, and even the users and the learners trying to rate and rank all of these systems, or flagging bad content, or flagging any viruses that are being put up, which it's really about the community developing with this with us. So it's really the community's job and our job to help push all of the great content to the top, and most of it will be lower quality content, but right away the framework is able to show you which are the best ways to learn specific skills for free on MentorMob.
So it's sort of a Wikipedia for social learning, but within a framework set by you both.
Right, and it's really based around one simple idea, and that simple idea is a learning playlist. And all it is you clicking on the very first skill that you don't know how to do. If you're just starting something, it's clicking on step 1, and right away you get that first website or that first video to use. When you're done with it, you click on next, and you go to that next great piece of content, and that's all it is. It's a very simple idea, but anyone can create this learning playlist also. So as soon as people start telling each other what's working for them and what's great learning content, the best ways are really going to shine.
Is the crowdsourcing approach then also to be found, let's say a playlist exists, but it is continuously sort of modified and made better, and other people have, from the community, have influence on how it evolves?
Right. There's a couple different permission settings for the people who are creating these playlists. One is where it's publicly it's publicly editable, so that anyone in the community, just like Wikipedia, you can come in and improve the playlist. And there's other permissions where you just want to have sole ownership of that playlist because this is the way you want to teach it, and that's fine too.
Or you can have your friends come and edit it one with you if you have a climbing club or something like that. Or you can help edit one playlist and just allow those people, or a company can come in and teach their users or their consumers how to use their products. So there's a lot of different ways to push out the actual product, and one of them is a widget that we've actually created. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So there's a lot of people have a lot of information. For example, a website owner, they have information on their site teaching, for example, salsa dancing. And the thing is, they have a mixture of articles, mixture of videos. But the thing is, a lot of these web owners, they have awesome content at the top of their Google search results, but it's very hard still to navigate through their content in the correct order. So the owner can then put their information into a learning playlist and embed that widget onto their site, so it walks their users through their content in the way that they want their users to go through. That makes the most sense. And we've seen from some of our pilot people using the widgets, we've seen amazing conversion rates with the people actually going through these playlists.
Mm-hmm. Great. So then, of course, let's have a look at your project a little bit from the business side. And I mean, we can say that at the moment you're going through the process of finding investment, and I mean. You said a couple of times that the platform is free to use, which is, I think, great. And also being social or social entrepreneurs is also great, but probably, especially when you have investors, you also need to see how to eventually make money with your service. So where is the business model then? And where does it come in?
It comes in right away. We've actually figured out our business model already, and a lot of it is based around the actual content and engagement of our product. So for our users, when they're going through this free product of this learning playlist and they're going through each step of the way, it's actually once everyone is able to actually use this product, it's very addictive to actually start using it, and everything that you're learning, it's like great content. But at the same time, there's advertising space on the side while you're going step by step through this process, where we don't want to create a space that has very annoying ads on it, because we actually valuable ads that a lot of our best users or best learners or best content creators, we want to give them more products than free products, because they're able to help market these products, but then advertise certain things that you need at a lower cost for the actual user also. And on the business side, with the educational marketing learning playlist, that the widget that you can put on your businesses, there's a freemium model for that also. And people are starting to use our system for a white label system for corporate training and for training their employees. So there's a lot of ways that our business model works, and it's all that value for our users for free, but at the same time, bringing more value to them with special ads for great products or sponsorships, and even helping the businesses to engage their users in a much more valuable way than just throwing up annoying ads. It's about creating engagement on their website and helping their consumers learn not about only their products, but how to get better at how they're using their products, and like providing analytics for a lot of these businesses and for the content creators to see how valuable this learning or how great their learning content actually is.
Oh yeah, definitely. This all sounds very decent, and probably particularly as businesses like to sort of have their dedicated solution not necessarily open or visible, at least to anybody else. So yeah, I can definitely see that a decent amount will or are willing to then actually invest in the white label solution. Sorry,
one more thing is because we've made our our platform, we focused on a lot of the usability and try to make it as simple as possible to use so that it caters to a wide range of audiences for people creating playlists for their websites or to teach what they want to teach, but also for businesses, because a lot of businesses, they want something simple, not we've taken a look at a lot of large LMSs and content management systems, and they're quite complex, and it seems like you need a PhD to actually use them. But the thing is, we provide a very simple interface for not only the users but the administrators and also.
Yeah. So then you mentioned currently still in private beta. So for people, besides watching the video about the idea, which I'm going to link, of course. But so when do you have in the planning to go in public beta, and so in what time frame are we talking?
Within a month and a half. So today is September 30th. So within a month and a half.
I think Vince just set our launch date. Yeah, we'll be pushing that out pretty quickly, and if anyone wants to come check it out, even help us create content and want a sneak peek at the website, we have a pretty cool community management team, marketing team, and they'd love to talk to you and help you get up to speed on what we're actually doing.
So where do we find you guys? You are always, the branding is pretty clear, that's always MentorMob, or would you like to address, your personal Twitter, or what is the best way to get in touch with you or with the team?
Just search for MentorMob. I think it's pretty easy to find right now.
I would say so, yeah.
or you can contact Kris and I directly, Kris, Kris at MentorMob.com, or me, Vince at MentorMob.com. And we're pretty good at emailing. We're 24/7 pretty much, unfortunately.
Maybe not unfortunately, I would say that's the startup mentality or spirit. And I think that's also a very good sign to show your future investors or even current investors. Good. Well, thank you so much, guys, for coming on EDUKWEST. Kris, Vince, was really a pleasure talking to you, and I think this whole social learning with community aspect and curated or crowdsourced is definitely something that is very appealing to a big part of today's learners, as I think the shift is always going on in society itself, and then of course it needs or it's natural that it spreads into how we want to learn something as well.
Definitely.
Great.
Thanks for taking the time, Kristen.
Thank you.